welcome to another video. So, as you can tell from the title, thumbnail and the time of month, this is my April wrap-up. I need energy for this one. So, somehow, I don't really know how, I read 18 books in April, plus one DNF. I'm not going to talk about the DNF, but it existed. I kind of DNF'd it halfway through, so not counting it. So that's a lot of books to get through today. They are stacked up in front of me, and this might take a while. So I'm going to squish to one side, and I'm going to pop some graphics up here. Oh, I'm being joined by a cat. Let's move you onto my lap, just so I can look like an evil mastermind, and your tail isn't in the way. So I read 18 books. Let me move to the side again. Okay, so first graphic. I read a total of 18 books, said plus one DNF. I read across 10 different genres. I'm not going to go through all of them, but my most popular genres, I read 5 romance and 4 middle grades, which now makes me think I really should have been on the romance team for Realmathon. I wasn't. I was on the fantasy team, so soz guys. My star rating, I gave 3 books 5 stars, I gave 5 books 4.5 stars, and my average rating across the 18 books was 3.5 stars, which I feel is pretty good. I had one book that was a 2-star, which was my lowest rating. I don't include the DNF in these ratings either, because I don't rate books if I don't finish them. And other than that, there were a few 3 stars in there, but still, average of 3.5 is pretty good. I read 16 books physically, 1 digitally, and 1 audibly, which is, to be honest, quite standard for me. I really do need to start reading more of my ebooks, because my ebook TBR is getting out of hand as always. So let's get through it. These aren't in order that I've read them or anything. They are in order that I pulled them off my read shelf on my book cart. I'm going to start off with the 3 that I've read for work, which I'm not going to, actually the 4 that I've read for work, because one of those was digitally. I'm not going to give you ratings or anything for these ones, because they're ones that I've been paid to work on. So first of all, I'll pop it up here, is Wanderlust. I really liked this book. This is a romance. We follow Dylan and Jack. She wins a round the world trip, but the catch is she has to take a random contact from her phone, and that random contact turns out to be Jack, a guy that she met on a night out and then ghosted. I really liked the discussions around doxing, particularly around sort of internet safety, mental health, and also things like parental pressure, and I guess as well like parental judgment. I thought that was really good. This is a very, very picky part of me. I wish there was more travel content. But again, I worked in travel for many years. I adore travelling. And I felt that when they were in Australia and also when they were in Japan, there were sort of 5 or 6 chapters of like really what they were doing. When they got to Mumbai, it was barely a paragraph. So I would have loved more travel content, but again, I think I am probably, that's a me thing, not a book thing. I do highly recommend this book. It is fantastic. I've also got The Grief Nurse here by Angie Spotto. This is a really interesting magical realism book. It follows Lynx, who is a grief nurse, and grief nurses take away your grief. She is employed by this family to take away their grief whenever they want it, so they are always bright and happy. We open up with the eldest son has died, and Lynx is taking away everybody's grief so that they can have a party. I thought this had really interesting discussions around grief, and I guess how grieving can be is and can be, healthy and a positive thing, even though it doesn't necessarily feel it at the time. The writing in here is absolutely gorgeous, and this edition, this is just the standard hardback, but I mean, look at it, it's absolutely beautiful. But yeah, we've got Grief Nurse. I also read Well Met by Jen DeLuca. This is another romance. This one is set in a Renaissance fair. We follow Emily, who has moved back to a small town to help her sister who broke her leg and can't get around, and her niece who wants to take part in this Renaissance fair, but as Emily goes to take her to sign up, she finds out that actually her niece can't take part unless she has an adult with her. So Emily signs up. She becomes a bar wench, and basically it's a bit of an enemies to lovers, with the person who leads the Renaissance fair, who runs it, being a bit of a dick, and how they meet and get on. I liked this. It was really cute. I love the setting. I do feel, being a Brit, there was quite a bit in the setting that I didn't really get. We don't have Renaissance fairs here. Do you have Renaissance fairs anywhere other than America? Like, are they just a common thing that I've just missed? I do think they sound fun. But yeah, there was a lot which seemed to be, you needed that kind of almost prior knowledge of what a Wen fair is and how it's run, and not necessarily how it's run, but what it's going to look like to really enjoy it. So there's a bit that kind of went a little bit over my head, but really fun. And then the final one that I read for work is The Secret Service of Tea and Treason by India Holton. This one is a historical thriller romance. Maybe not thriller, mystery. It follows these two characters, Daniel and Alice, who are spies. They have to pretend to be married to infiltrate the pirates, who are obviously the kind of baddies. They think the pirates have got this secret weapon and a plot to kill the queen. This one, I was a bit surprised by the romance in it. I kind of didn't, even though I knew it was a romance book, I didn't really see the romance coming, and I'm not convinced that the romance added a lot to the plot. The writing style, I think, is quite unique. It is a kind of mock Victorian writing style, lots of what ho's and Satan or what now. And the humour is very, very innuendo based. Not my personal type of humour, but I can see why people enjoy this series. Okay, right, back. Let's get into the books for review that I read in April. I'm going to try and whiz through these as quickly as possible. So first of all, I've got Exile. This is the second book in the Keep of the Lost Cities series. It's by Shannon Messenger. So I read book one in about September, October last year. I was working on Stellalune, which is book 9, but I didn't read the rest of the series because I didn't have time, and they're all quite chunky. So I thought I wanted to catch up with the rest of the series. This one did take me a while to read. It was my bedtime book, and I don't always read before bed. But it's a fun, quick, middle grade read. I say quick, it is over 500 pages. It is a fun read. It's a enjoyable adventure. We're following Sophie, who is an elf, and she's basically, it's very much a chosen one vibe. She is the chosen one. She has all of these magical powers. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, I think I gave this one, I can't remember off the top of my head what I rated it. I think I gave it either 3 or 3.5. I enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as the others are, but again, they are quite a fun, quick read. I've then got my first 5-star of the month, Finley Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosimano. I adored this book. It is so, so, so good. I will try and pop up here the video where I read this one. It's fantastic. So we follow Finley. She is a single mum, and she is a struggling author. She's speaking to her agent in a cafe. Someone overhears her and thinks that she is a hit woman for hire, hires her to kill her husband, and chaos ensues. It's got the right level of humour for me. I found it funny in places. I found it heartwarming. It made me cry. It made me laugh. I just thought this was fantastic. I am a little bit nervous about continuing with the series because I hear that it does go downhill. So I might give it a bit of a break and then carry on with the series. Next I've got Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. This is book 3. Yes, book 3 in the Percy Jackson series. This one, I read 2 Percy Jacksons this month, so I can't actually remember what happened in this one. Oh yeah, this one is, again, a super fun, fast-paced book. In this one, Annabeth gets kidnapped. So we meet the Hunters of Artemis, who are female hunters. They are immortal. They are part of the goddess Artemis's, I don't know, groupies. And they have to go and try and find Annabeth and also Artemis, who has also been kidnapped. With this one, I felt like the stakes of the series increased. We had characters die in this one, which we haven't seen before in the series. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. And speaking of, we'll move straight on to Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth, which is book 4. So with this one, again, we had quite a lot of, like I said, in the third one, there were sort of characters that died. So we've now got quite a lot of kind of grief which we're dealing with. I might go either way. With this one, we are in the labyrinth, King Midas's labyrinth, and we are trying to find don't remember who it is we're trying to find. The guy who made the wings, Icarus, Daedalus. Wow, brain. Because he's, I don't really remember why. There was something he can do to like solve stuff. Wow, great explanation. Look, I've read a lot of books this month. Yeah, it's fun. It's a great read. I enjoy this series, and I'm excited to read book 5 this month. Carrying on with the middle grade, we've got The Wolfwilder by Katherine Rundell. This is such a cute book. This one I gave 4.5. It follows Feo, whose mother gets arrested. They are Wolfwilders. They take pet wolves and rewild them to be able to introduce them back into the wild. Feo decides that she's going to go and rescue her mother with her pack of wolves. Again, they are rewilded wolves. They're not pets. And I really liked how that is mentioned multiple times. They're not pets. It's, you know, they are doing this because they want to. She meets some other characters whose names I don't remember. And it's just a really fun adventure. This one is absolutely gorgeous. Highly recommend. I did forget to say, both of the Percy Jacksons, I think I gave them both 4 stars. Might have been 4.5, but they were both sort of around about 4 stars. Next, I've got Descender by Jeff Lemire and Justin Nguyen. This one is a graphic novel. I liked this one. I thought the art style was quite nice. I liked the story. I'm probably not going to continue with the series, only because while I did enjoy it, it didn't grip me enough to make me want to know what was going to happen next. This has been out for quite a while. I have heard a lot of people speak about it, and I think, yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, but I'm probably not going to carry on. I'm going to give this one to a new home. I think I gave this one about a 3.5. Next we have got Joe Abercrombie, Before They Were Hanged. So this one I actually listened to primarily on audiobook, and I really liked the audiobook of this one. This is book 2 in the first Law trilogy, and this one has got a bit more plot than The Blade itself. Our main characters are we're kind of seeing their purpose in this one. And what I really loved with this one is, and I'm going to try not to spoil anything, in book 1, something happens with a main character to make us hate him. Absolutely just, you are dead to me, hate you. In this one, something happens to that same character to make me absolutely love him. He is a new favourite character. And I just love how the way that Joe Abercrombie has managed to do that and like really twist my enjoyment and perception on the character twice, because he was a character that I liked at the first. He did this thing, I hated him, he's now come back to being a fave. Fantastic, really enjoyed it. I gave this one 4.5 stars. Yeah, really good. Highly recommend this series if you like your kind of dark, extended high fantasy. Really good. Next I have got Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is volume 3. This is so cute. In this one, Nick and Charlie and their classmates are on a school trip to Paris. I really liked the fact that we got to see more of their friendship group and actually see them as friends and how they kind of work together as a friendship group. I liked the discussions around eating disorders. I thought that was handled really well. I also really liked it when Harry came back into this one. Not that I like him as a character, he's a dick, but I thought that the way that his reintroduction was handled was really good. Yeah, really enjoyed the series. I'm going to carry on and read book 4, and I'm waiting for book 5 to come out as well. I think I gave that one 4 stars. Next I've got Book Lovers by Emily Henry. So this is my second Emily Henry that I have read, and this one I enjoyed so much more than Beach Read. With this one we follow Nora and Charlie. They end up there. Again, this is my thing with the last Emily Henry I read, just ignore the synopsis. They're not really rivals, they work together, but they kind of had basically an awkward dinner where they both thought the other didn't really like them, but they've not really actually worked together very often. She's an agent, he's an editor. Yeah, so they're not colleagues. But I really liked how, well, they're basically thrown together in this small town. They both happen to be there, and chaos ensues, basically. It's got a lot of really good humour that I enjoyed. I really liked the way that the romance was set up. I really liked as well that the romance and happily ever after wasn't the main point. I liked that, you know, we didn't see a character kind of giving up her own dreams just for a man. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I do highly recommend this one. Okay, 5 books left. We're in the home straight, guys. Next up, we have got Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This has been my favourite book of the month, favourite book of the year so far. I loved everything about this book. We follow Anastasia and Nathan. She is a figure skater, he is the captain of the ice hockey team. At the beginning of the book, they have 2 separate rinks at college. At the beginning of the book, someone has played a prank and has damaged the ice hockey's rink, meaning that they now need to share with the figure skaters' rink. And obviously neither of them are very happy about that. Anastasia particularly is not happy that these big burly hockey players are on her rink in her practice time. However, Nate is the cutest, sweetest thing, and he intends to actually befriend the team and be like, look, we need to make the best of this. I love Nate himself, the way that he is portrayed as this. He's a college sports star, but is a sweet guy. He's not out just to like bang anything that moves. He's not trying to get drunk all the time. You know, he's generally the designated driver. He looks out for his team. He takes the fall for things instead of his team. He's lovely. I loved the way that their relationship developed. I really enjoyed actually the third act breakup in this, which is something I generally don't enjoy in romances, but I enjoyed that it made sense to the book. The character of Aaron, who is Anastasia's skating partner, I enjoyed his character. Didn't like him. I enjoyed his character. I liked the way that he was the way that he was portrayed and the way that he was shown, I thought was done really, really well. And yeah, I basically loved everything about this one. This one got, on CawPile, I think it got like a 9.68 out of 10. So, you know, it's like a super high 5-star. I adored everything about this. Personally, I read the epilogue and then I decided that I'm going to ignore the epilogue. That didn't need to happen. But I love this. This is really fantastic. Next I have got Diddly Squat by Jeremy Clarkson. So, I do not like Jeremy Clarkson. I think he is an absolute dickhead. But I do like his Clarkson's Farm series. I think that the way that he portrays the farming industry is actually really good. So I wanted to read this because I thought it would be more of the same. It isn't. On this one, this is just basically a bind up of his articles in whatever paper it is that he writes for. And I didn't really I didn't really like that. I felt like I wanted more of a kind of a diary-esque or a conversation around the way that farming in the UK works, which we get in the show. This was literally just a sort of, I've got a 200-word column, and so it is literally just a bind up of his columns. I'm probably going to give it to my dad. I grew up on a farm. My dad is a farmer. Probably will give it to my dad or my brother to read. But yeah, it's not a favourite. I'm not going to read his next one. I will carry on watching the series though. Next I have got 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. This one is my third 5-star of the month. I loved this. At first I was quite apprehensive, and again I'm going to link my vlog which I read this one in up here. At first I was quite apprehensive about this one, and I was like, oh gosh, I don't think it's going to be for me. But by the time we got to the end and the twists and the reveals and the character development, I was shook and I just adored it. I loved it so much. It's so good. We follow 6 friends. We're following Red and her 5 other friends. They are driving down to somewhere, Florida, I think, for spring break. Oh no, they're driving down to Louisiana? Near New Orleans, Louisiana. Anyway, they're going there for spring break, and they're in an RV. They get lost, and then a sniper appears and shoots out their tyres in their gas tank and says, this isn't a mistake. I know who you are. We need your secret. One of you has got a secret. You need to share it. And the character development in this was fantastic. The way the different characters handled things and the secrets that came out. There's sort of, I feel like there were 3 main twists in this. The first twist I guessed, I felt it was fairly obvious. The second twist did not see coming, and then the third one also didn't see coming. But so good, really, really good. I do highly recommend reading this in as close to one sitting as you can. It's just fantastic. Next, going from one extreme to the other, we have got So Close by Sylvia Day. This book was a 2-star. What to say? So in this one, we've got 4 main characters. We've got Lily, who has been presumed dead for the last 6 years. Kane, who is her husband. Amy, who is married to Kane's brother but fancies Kane. And Aliyah, who is Kane's mother. Basically, they're all just awful people. And while I quite enjoyed the awfulness of Amy, the others, I didn't really understand their motivations. And to be honest, that was my main issue with this, to be totally honest. I felt like we had 4 separate plots, none of which combined to make an overall story arc. I can't tell you the plot of this book because I have no idea. And with these 4 separate plots, it feels like we've just kind of been plonked into the middle of a story. So we don't know how we've got to this point. We don't know the motivations. We're not really connected to any of the characters. I don't know if this is a mid-series book. It does say it's a Blacklist novel, but on Goodreads it says it's like Blacklist number 1. So I don't know if this is part of a wider series and it's like a spin-off series or something. But yeah, I felt like I didn't really understand any of the characters. I didn't understand any plot, and I think because I couldn't connect to any of the characters, it then made all of the tension and the smut and the things like that just didn't connect, didn't enjoy. And without spoilers, the end of this, the thing that happens towards the end, which just literally came completely out of nowhere, it just made no sense. We'd had, I think this was my main issue, is things just didn't quite make sense. It just didn't quite feel finished, unfortunately. And final book on the list, is The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni. This is book 2 in the Prison Healer series. In book 1 we follow Kiva, who works as a healer in a prison, the death prison Zalendov. A new inmate comes in called Jaren, who turns out he is the Crown Prince, but he is undercover to try and kind of uncover a rebel plot to try and, I think, to overthrow the throne or something. However, another inmate is brought in who is thought to be the rebel queen, and Kiva steps up on her behalf to partake in the trials by ordeal, which are trials by the different types of magic. There's an elemental magic system in here, which is fantastic. Kiva and Jaren end up getting quite close. And in this one, in book 2, they have escaped the prison and they are back in the palace. It's really good. This whole series is fantastic. I can't wait to finish off the series. I really, really enjoyed both book 1 and book 2. I gave this one 4.5 stars. I think I gave The Prison Healer 5 stars. It's fantastic. Highly, highly recommend. If you like high stake fantasy, if you like anything where there is a sort of trial, like something like Throne of Glass, or even maybe like even Hunger Games or something like that, where you've got that sort of high stake, you win or you die kind of trials, this is a fantastic series and I highly recommend. Okay, that is my 18 book wrap up. I don't know if I'm going to read as much next month. I am currently exhausted of reading and I am just not wanting to pick up any books, which is absolutely fine. But if you liked this video, please leave me a like, leave a comment if you have read any of the books that I've mentioned, or any books that you think that you are now going to pick up. If you like my channel, I would love it if you could subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.